Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for August 14th, 2025, Season 4, Episode 226. Today, MayorWatt, who runs ohmTown.com, is going to be talking about Megadeth in the news, hoverboard design patent, Ohio wants to embrace Dystopia, a Dragonfly Fossil fills Evolutionary Gap, FDA to use AI to predict long-term cancer outcomes. That bull ride was never stolen, it was bull-shoy. Battlefield 6 Destruction Challenge, know nothing about it. And USB ports in all the weird places. Air Canada cancels flights after strike notice, and wrongly tossed court records. People are out in a landfill. Everything's powered by ohmTown.com. This is a time machine episode because I recorded this already, posted it to YouTube and to the podcast, and then found out that, two mics were open at the time of recording, so it echoed. So I'm doing it again, and I'm going to do it faster, except for this intro. See you in a little bit. All right, let's get into it. The first article is over in Smash or Trash, which is a show about music that I would love to bring to Twitch and YouTube, except for the, I'll just say, horrible response to talking about music and using the music in the process of talking about music. You can either talk about music or you can play music, but you can't talk and play music at the same time publicly. You can't play music publicly on demand. There's all kinds of rules and regulations. Anyway, it's so frustrating, and I paid for it for years and never got anything actually truly out of it, because the real problem is called the synchro license or sync license. Anyway, non sequitur news. Let's drag it back, MayorWatt. Megadeth to end after 2026 album and farewell tour. And then I dropped stuff. So Dave Mustaine is saying goodbye to the thrash metal band he founded after being fired from Metallica. And if you remember, 2 days ago, I did the article about Metallica going to the Sphere, and then it being a once in a lifetime, or not a once in a lifetime, a dream come true or something like that. I don't know. Whatever. So Megadeth to end after the 2026 album and farewell tour. I think that's going to happen for like 2 years from now. Matthew Strauss over at pitchfork.com put this article together. And it says here that Dave Mustaine is saying goodbye to the thrash metal band he founded after being fired from Metallica in 1983. Basically, they're going to go on a tour. Who knows how long it's going to be? It might be the, what do you want to call it? The Megadeth Share Tour, where they keep on playing music until... who knows, the lights go out, literally. He continued that we can't wait for you to hear this new album and see us on tour. If there was ever a perfect time to put out a new album, it's now. Didn't know that. I can't imagine that now is the time for a new album, but anyway. And if there was ever a perfect time to tour the world, it's now, I guess, if you're on a bucket list kind of a thing. This is also a perfect time for you to tell us, for us to tell you, or whatever, that it's their latest and last studio album. They're done. We've made a lot of friends over the years. Hope to see y'all at one of our global farewell tour events. Don't be mad, don't be sad, be happy for us all. This sounds really like don't worry, be happy for a Megadeth kind of outward message. You'd think that it would be a little bit harder. Hard. Anyway, we have done something together that's truly wonderful and will probably never happen again. We started a musical style. We started a revolution. We changed the guitar world and how it's played, and we changed the world. I don't know. All right. Moving on. Next article is over in Right Protect, which is all about copyright, trademark, patent discussions. Hoverboard design patent owner falls flat at CAFC, the Federal Circuit Appeals. So on Thursday, the CAFC affirmed a district court's finding on remand from an earlier CAFC decision that several hoverboard design patents were not infringed by hoverboard products sold online. The thing about this is that design, I said this in the earlier recording that I've since deleted, but design patents aren't really based on merit, really. They're not utility patents, so there isn't anything functionally unique therein. Now, if this was a utility patent, then there would be some merit, perhaps, on the mechanical aspects of it, but a patent for the design isn't the same thing. So it says Eileen McDermott over at IPWatchdog.com put the article together, and essentially I think the claims that I've read here were that anything that was hourglass shaped fell in this design patent, but the design doesn't have any functionality. So I would say that the shape isn't necessarily a functional or a design aesthetic. It's just a standard. It is a thing. It exists. An hourglass shape exists. So this person shouldn't be able to lay claim to an hourglass shape because it exists in prior art, not necessarily for these things called hoverboards. When you think hoverboard, you think Back to the Future, not these kind of things. At least that's what I do. CAFC found in 2022 that there were, that's how it's written, there were substantive defects in the court's reasoning for granting the injunctions. The opinion explained that the district court's May order in 2020 preliminary injunction violated the requirement of FRCP 65A1 that the court may issue a preliminary injunction only on notice to the adverse party, because before the entry of the 2020 preliminary injunction, no advance notice or an opportunity to oppose was given to them. So basically they bounced it all the way back. The CFC thus ultimately found that there was no evidence that the required notice was provided and vacated both the 2020 and May 24th order granting ABC's motion to amend to add additional defendants. So the CFC said that the district court did not apply the appropriate legal standard in issuing the 2021 injunction. Secondly, the district court failed to conduct the ordinary observer test laid out in the Egyptian Goddess v. Swissa, which required the court to conduct a three-way analysis comparing the accused product, the patented design, and the prior art. Since the dominant feature of the accused products and the patented design is the hourglass shape, the focus of the infringement substantial similarity analysis is, in most cases, will be on other features of the design. The shared dominant feature from the prior art will be no more than a background feature of the design, necessary for finding a substantial similarity, but insufficient by itself to support a finding of substantial similarity. In contrast, the expert report relied on the district court, far from recognizing that the hourglass figure of the asserted patents could not be relied on to establish substantial similarity, improperly relied on that feature to show substantial similarity. And so that's my assumption, my evaluation of this. And I'm not an attorney, and even if I was an attorney, I'm not your attorney, so go hire an attorney. I'm just an observer looking out at this stuff and having some relevant knowledge of this kind of stuff. The idea of using something as simple as an hourglass shape isn't substantive enough to be the foundation for which a design patent could be defended by somebody else. So anybody can use an hourglass shape. It's the most efficient, effective way of providing a means for this type of vehicle or any other vehicle, for crying out loud. I'm just surprised that it actually has been persisting since, well, for 5 years now, right? I mean, there was a 2020, 2021, 2022. I didn't see 2023 in here. Anyway, it's been going back and forth for 5+ years. I find it kind of nutty. Anyway, get over it, sell a better product, change the design, whatever. But yeah, this is kind of goofy. I'm not quite sure why the hourglass shape even really matters in this. It doesn't seem to make much sense that it plays a role, because the two don't angle towards each other, so they can't impinge on each other. If anything, this made the mold more expensive for the casting of the plastic parts. Make it a square, for crying out loud. Make it something I can sit on and drive around. Anyway, next article is over in the Wanted channel. Ohio wants to create a database of people who skip job interviews. And this article is over at Gizmodo. AJ Dellinger put the article together. It says, finally, someone's thinking about the employers. Oh, thank goodness. I'm overcome with glee that someone is now thinking of the employers. Let's create a database of everybody who's trying to get a job and may have, I don't know, decided that they don't want to go to that job over there because they got a better position somewhere else or a better offer or whatever. And countless times employers ghost the potential applicants or anybody who's gone through a first part of a gig. The proposal, introduced as HB 395, specifically targets job applicants who are recipients of unemployment benefits and are required to seek employment to continue receiving the limited compensation provided to them. Well, you pay into that stuff as an employee elsewhere, and so you deserve unemployment benefits because you're a human being that's paid taxes. Duh. The thing is that this is all about trying to punish people who are trying to get a job and may, I don't know, not show up for 15 minutes to an interview. In fact, I can tell you about a story where I ended up, because of a mistake by somebody else, it cost me a very big gig, because when I showed up 3 hours later, the people basically said that I was the one that was wrong, and that I came late to a pitch. And so even though I had contacted them and said that there's something going on, that I won't be able to make it, and I didn't want to sit there and tell them that I had gotten pulled over incorrectly by the police. It's quite a fascinating story, actually, because of a typo about my license plate in a different state. I got pulled over by a state trooper who walked up to me and asked me what the meaning of my license plate was. And when I started to talk to him about it, he waved me off and said, okay, never mind. Because he knew that someone done goofed. Anyway, regardless, the idea that an employer is getting screwed by a person's no-show doesn't exactly pass the sniff test, says this article. Sure, there are resources expended by a business in the job interview process, maybe 30 minutes, maybe 15 minutes by the time all is said and done. But at the end of the day, they still have the rest of the potential employee pool to draw from to fill that role. Meanwhile, getting ghosted by a prospective employer, they say it in the article, has simply become part of the process for most job seekers. A recent report found that 61% of U.S. job seekers reported being ghosted by an employer after a job interview, never receiving a follow-up, and a survey of hiring managers conducted by Resume Genius found that 80% admitted to ghosting potential employees. Wonder if said Goober has any concerns about that. Surely he represents a lot more than just the employers, right? I mean, this isn't like NASCAR where everybody should have who they're bought and sold by, little badges on the car, right? Like whoever it is that's funding the messaging, maybe that's what we need, is little labels like NASCAR. Let's check out the livery of this politician or that politician. Let's move on. The next article is over on the Mobile Channel. Canada's first dinosaur-era dragonfly fossil fills an evolutionary gap. Because this is a time machine episode, I'm going to hurry up and go on over to the sources of these articles that get aggregated over at ohmTown.com. Claire Lowen from McGill University put this article together. Lisa Locke edited it, and Robert Egan reviewed it. And it was posted over at phys.org. And essentially, they found a wing of a dragonfly and defined it to the point, I don't know how they do this. They describe it in such a way that it became a unique fossil and a new species. It's a 30 million year old gap in the evolutionary history of dragonflies, which apparently are very, very important to the world. The fossil was discovered in 2023 by a McGill undergraduate student during a vertebrate paleontology field course led by Professor Hans Larsen. We were excavating the area where many leaf fossils have been found by cracking rocks, but they found a partial wing. Not expecting insects there, they basically started doing some digging around and they figured out that this was a dragonfly. So they say this is the first ever dinosaur-age dragonfly found in Canada. Its wingspan was about the width of a human hand, While small, it would have been an important part of the Cretaceous ecosystem, a tasty raptor snack, no doubt. And the find is published in the Canadian Journal of Earth Sciences. Dun-dun. Let's move on. The next article is over in the Mobile Channel. FDA just signed off on AI predicting long-term cancer outcomes. The article is by Jennifer Artakelis Dawkins at QZ.com, or Quartz. Sorry, I needed to check something. So the Food and Drug Administration has approved artificial intelligence as a way to predict some cancer outcomes, resulting in yet another win for AI in the medical space. I think that this is great in that it is more accurate than humans, because humans have bad days, have bad eyes, they get distracted, the monitor may not be as high quality. They had a bad experience the night before, they got drunk or stoned, or they're dumb or whatever. It doesn't matter. AI is just ever getting more effective and efficient as long as nobody tampers with the data. They only, all bias is removed as much as possible. If they're aware of it, they remove it. But the data is, data. It's fact. Context, barring certain evaluation methods, the data is the data. It is the truth, right? So either you do or you don't, or you're trending towards having cancer. The agency issued a de novo authorization for the Artera AI prostate test, an AI test used to personalize cancer therapy and predict treatment outcomes. The problem here really is that I don't want this data being exfiltrated over to a third party who can then exfiltrate it to an insurance company that can tamper with my insurance rates, because that's what they do. Once they find out that I've got something or I don't have something, or I'm aging or whatever the calculus is. That's kind of the sad part about this, is that nature is moving ever onward and my rates are going up simply because I am existing, even though I'm not doing anything risky or risque. I'm just existing. So Artera is one of several technology companies vying for artificial intelligence to improve accuracy in diagnosing cancer and determining treatment. Oh, by the way, when I say stuff like that, I always hear from somebody saying, well, I'll win the game, right? I'll make so much money that I don't have to worry about it or whatever. But it's very sociopathic thinking. The world is made up of somebody other than just you, right? You're part of a society. You can't be part of a society of just one. Anyway, companies like Freenome, CureMetrics, Path AI focus on diagnosis and early detection, while companies like Immuni and Anima Biotech focus on treatment. Tech companies outside of the medical space are also trying to get in on the trend. Apple has developed features for its watches to detect heart arrhythmias. NVIDIA is working on Medtronic and Johnson & Johnson to build their AI devices and software. However, while AI can reduce medical errors in some capacities, it can also lack accuracy in other areas, raising concerns, usually the evaluation stuff, where it makes up data. In fact, I decided to try my luck to see if it could summarize something for me, and it made up facts, it made up data. I have to question everything, and if I have to do all of the research from end to end, it's useless to me. So companies may also face regulation on the state level. Illinois became the latest to restrict the use of artificial intelligence in therapy, following Nevada and Utah, as at least 3 other states consider their own restrictions on the technology. Illinois is prohibiting the use of AI to provide mental health and therapeutic decision-making, according to a state press release. However, licensed behavioral health professionals can still use the tech for administrative and supplementary support services. So anything that doesn't have to do with tampering with the human mind. But we are being modified by the output of an AI all the time, because it's in the results. It's guiding what gets published. It's in games. It's in movies. It's everywhere. And as I read just moments ago somewhere else, if you say it often enough, it becomes fact. The next article is over in FourWheelTech. Ram's mechanical bull ride found. Sheriff says, this is the crime of the century, but it was never stolen to begin with. It was basically loaded up onto a truck and taken somewhere. but then they said, oh, I'm taking it to the wrong spot, and they're bringing it back. So Aaron Marquis over at jalopnik.com put the article together. It's titled Ram's Mechanical Bull Ride Found. Sheriff says it was never stolen to begin with. The brand made it clear to media that the report of the missing bucking Hemi ride was not a marketing stunt. It released flyers asking for information. The CEO, it says Ram CEO, Tim, whatever his name is, released a statement this week calling the theft bull. And then there's only 3 stars in this article. So it's bull, S-I-T, I guess, bullshit. Yeah. You don't want to cuss. I mean, it's really bad form. It's shitty form. It even said that it was actively working with law enforcement to track down the dastardly thief. You bastard. Why are you taking that? Anyway, it seems reports of the theft of the ride, which features a V8 engine with a ram's head instead of the traditional mechanical bull saddle, but basically operated in the same manner, were greatly exaggerated, at least according to the blah, blah, blah. So the Ram CEO, or Ram, I guess, just says that Ram is not a person. So it just says Ram. I don't know. Okay. The organization, I guess, now says that the supplier accidentally packed up the ride during breakdown of the roadkill nights on August 9th and transported it 1,200 miles to North Carolina, where the mistake was discovered. I guess they were supposed to keep it longer, but the supplier actually packaged it up and brought it back, thinking that they were supposed to do just that. Anyway, it's a lot of writing for what amounts to somebody being a derp. All right. And nobody talking to each other. So the next article is over on the WarCrafters channel. I hope that you've been sharing your Battlefield 6 clips on social media because, well, they're only 8% of the way through a $1 trillion destruction challenge and the clock is ticking. The article is over at PC Gamer. Rory Norris put the article out. The deck statement says, we're running out of time to blow up the beta and earn an exclusive weapon skin, but that nobody has seen the weapon for. So you have to destroy $1 trillion worth of, well, map, I guess, in the Battlefield 6 open beta. And if you do that, then you'll get a new a skin for it's called the Destruction skin for the M60 machine gun. But you're only at $81 billion right now, so you're probably not going to get it. Anyway, it says the big issue with the event is that it's not just about blowing things up. That's the easy part, considering most buildings collapse with just a measly grenade. For your efforts to count, you need to post clips of your gameplay to either Twitter or Insta using BF6 receipts and mention Battlefield, supposedly, so that Dimer can rate your antics. Evidently, there aren't enough clips being sent in yet, though I still doubt he's checking through every single one and balancing the books. Anyhow, every time you submit a clip, you can check your receipt by searching for your account on the leaderboards. Why isn't this all done in game? You know exactly what it is. I mean, you have the telemetry of which grenade blew up a building, what took it down. It's weird. Anyway, may not ever happen. But go and blow things up in Battlefield 6. Okay. The next article is over in the Wanted channel. 5 of the strangest places you'll find USB ports hanging around in, like CD bars and truck stops and Chick-fil-A's around the world. John Kanalakos over at pocket-lint.com put the article together, and I'm going to run through this real quick. How about a USB port and a handheld fan that can charge your batteries? How about a bookshelf? Storage shelves with a side of USB power delivery. But power delivery, PD, is an actual... what do you call it? It's a platform. It's not just called power delivery. It's really called power delivery. It's a feature name. It's not just power delivery. Anyway, never mind. How about a lamp? Lamps and USB ports are a surprisingly natural fit. Yeah, so if you have a lamp there, then there's a power cord that's leading to it, at least for now, folks. Stay tuned. And it's got a USB port in it. So yeah, it'll just charge it. How about an air purifier? Because everybody needs pure air, and with a side of Type-C USB, the Muka H13 HEPA filter. And finally, a treadmill. If you plug your phone in, then if you want to charge your phone while you're running, because you're sitting there for an hour plus, you might as well, not sitting, Usually you're running, but anyway. Let's keep going. The next article is over in the Mobile Channel. Air Canada starts canceling flights after attendants give strike notice. Yeah, so Hannah Parker over at Quartz or QZ.com put the article together. Air Canada started canceling flights after flight attendants gave a 72-hour notice to strike, and then they got a lockout from the airlines, which is a natural progression of activities between strike and the employers. I guess somewhere along the line they decided that if you are willing to go on strike, then you're probably willing to do damage to something, so you're locked out, so you can't get to anything, right? I don't know. Air Canada and Air Canada Rouge, I'd like to say Rogue though, Rouge flights will be gradually suspended over this time period, while Air Canada Express flights won't be impacted. A press release. I guess the Air Canada Express flights are for the rich and famous. We regret the impact a disruption will have on our customers. Yeah, well, I mean, if you pay everybody more and you don't have such massive profits for very few people and for the investors, what I'm saying is, quit being so sociopathic. You exist because of the workforce that is actually working there. So pay them what they're worth. And you know that they're worth more because your business is worth more. CUPE and Air Canada have been in negotiations for 8 months, even at one point bringing in federal conciliators to help with negotiations. On Monday, the airline tabled a revised proposal to CUPE, which it said sought no concessions in return from its flight attendants and included a 38% total compensation increase over 4 years. It said it had offered the union to enter third-party binding arbitration in order to finalize any outstanding issues. Air Canada is said to have refused to address critical issues, including unpaid labor and wages. Yeah, well, once you're part of a union, you do not do anything for free. The next article is over in Law Nerd. Court clerk staffers in New Orleans dig through a landfill to find wrongly tossed out court records. Yeah, so somebody dumped a bunch of stuff, and now the court clerk staffers are in New Orleans digging through a landfill to find wrongly tossed court records. Deborah Kassens-Weiss over at abajournal.com put the article together. In a nutshell, the Louisiana Secretary of State's office has a process in place for missing and destroyed paper or destroyed paperwork that will be used if a needed document can't be found. The tossed documents were from 1950s and 1970s. The Orleans Parish documents included case appeals, docket books, evidence logs in cases of murder and other assault. According to NOLA.com, felony records must be permanently retained in the parish, but all kinds of stuff was dumped. And so now, I guess, you non-judges are out there doing that work. I wonder if I'll ever be allowed back into NOLA. Anyway, we are going to take this dumpster fire all the way back to the front page of ohmTown.com, where it's all news, no noise. All news, no noise. Go over there, sign up, sign in, become a citizen of ohmTown, and you'll get a seventh link right over here. See, I have the screen zoomed in a little bit. There we go. So there's 6 main categories, but a 7th one once you log in after becoming a citizen. It's real easy. We don't track anything. We don't email you anything, maybe a password reset or something like that. And we don't even have ads. So all of this is gratis. Just come and hang out. Come and hang out here on YouTube and Twitch, in the Discord, in Patreon, in the podcast. Leave a 5-star review. Help us get noticed. I don't know. I'm about to go streaking down Main Street of ohmTown, which is all digital, and I guess we could call it only ohms or only mayors. Yeah, whatever. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.